with Sidekick Accounting. How are you? Happy Monday. It is a new week for a new month, new Monday, first Monday of the month. And oh, wait, hold on, is that right? I think that's right. It's been a blur over here at Sidekick Accounting with all of the taxes going on. But I wanted to come on here today because I just want to share my journey a little bit more. Because I know many people watch me and they think things are easy sometimes, and it's easy to look at, what's good on the outside versus what's seeing internally what happens sometimes. And so this past week, and I'm a little bit out of breath because I was just on my treadmill because I have a standing desk and a walking treadmill. And that's part of my goals of things to change and make into habits this year. So I was going to start this video walking, but to be honest, I am tired and getting a little sweaty. So I learned that I can only be at 1 miles per hour if I don't want to break a sweat. So as an FYI, anyways, or maybe around a little bit because it's a little warm in here. Anyways, one of the two. So this past week, and probably a little bit more than that, we've got big goals, big ambitions, and it needs a lot of things to show up. And I'm also starting this program soon that is going to really just help to solidify some of the things that we're going to be launching, really get our branding in order, and basically maximize that. And it's going to be results driven. I had to get my thoughts together. It's going to be results driven. And of course, like with many things that are results driven, if you do the work and you show up, you will get the results, right? Because that's the whole point. But the flip side of that is that it elevates you. What ends up happening is that it takes you to this next level, which is something that I feel like I've been called to, have in my life. I've been through a lot. My story is really powerful. The services that we provide within my organization are really awesome as well. And all of those things together, just this trajectory that, will pretty much lead to big things. Now, me, of course, being a human, a lot of times get to this point where I'm just like, am I cut out for this? Like, am I even good? I mean, I don't really look the part. I've never been one to be like glamorous or, at the forefront or whatever. And, it just starts to creep in, right? You have all these things, fear of failure and imposter syndrome and self-doubt and self-trust. That's one thing that I'm working on right now as a result of, the trauma that I've had to go through. I've come to a place where I've realized I really trust myself. It's hard for me to sometimes get things completed when I say I'm going to complete them. And some of that stuff is a result of, getting in a little bit deeper into the things that need to change. But anyhow, and there's a lot of pieces, and everybody kind of goes through this, especially as you start to elevate into leadership. You start having new challenges. You start having to become the best version of yourself, because if not, then things implode, right? Or explode, or however you want to call it. And so that's what I've been kind of learning. In addition to that, I've been working on weekly coaching with God, because I've worked with a lot of business coaches, and they're awesome. And you really should work with them if you haven't before, because they really give you a lot of foundation that you need to move in the direction that you need to, and they give you an outside perspective. But I was really feeling called to start doing that with God, because I know a lot of things about business. For me, it always came down to like implementation, right? And showing up and having that self-discipline and action, behind it. It wasn't so much the knowledge piece. It was this other deeper work that needed to happen. And so anyways, I was doing that this morning while in the midst of all this self-doubt and sabotage and imposter syndrome and whatever you want to call it. And it happens. Sometimes I'm really high in the mountain and sometimes I'm not, and I think that happens sometimes as a result of this culmination, this getting ready, this, the whatever you want to call it, labor pains is a good probably indicator or analogy to reference it to, right? So like when something is about to be birthed or produced at a substantial level, right? Having a baby is like nothing like anything else. And on that kind of a level, things kind of get difficult. You start to like feel like, oh, I can't do this. And that was kind of the thing for me that was happening. So while I was doing my thing with God this morning, one of the verses that came up was 2 Timothy 1:7. And it says, "For the spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline." And like, how perfect of that is that for a CEO, right? Because we have to show up not timid, in love, with power and self-discipline in order for us to be able to be all that we're supposed to be, live within our purpose, be able to strive within our purpose and go in the direction that we want to. And there was a lot of other verses that got brought up for me today, but I wanted to share this with you because if you are struggling, but you really feel like there's a calling on your life, something of greater purpose, you have this passion that has so much to give, I would really encourage you to really dig in to what that is, and really figure it out and then write it down, because that's what I did today. And even looking back at, in the Bible where people had failures, because I've had lots of failures, in life and business on the journey this last 9 years. And I've learned a lot of things. And I always just like I kept thinking to myself, like, oh, I failed too much. I can't, get to this higher level. I keep failing. I can't, I'm gonna fail. I can't get to that level, so all these things that, they're lies that come over into your head. And the one thing that I keep going back to, though, is there's so many people in the Bible that are like that too. So if you feel that way, I encourage you to keep pushing through and really get into your purpose, really dig into what calling you feel like is in your life, what that mission is, because that's what helps keep you grounded. And if you are a Christian like me, dig into the word, because it has so much living things in it, so much things that pertain to life now in it. It really can help be your foundation as well. It is the foundation. That's your foundation first, and then everything else kind of pours over in what else needs to happen. So anyways, wanted to encourage you. Being a CEO is hard, especially when you start growing and building a team and having to do many different things and pieces all at the same time. But let me tell you, you start putting yourself first and you get your grounding, you'll be able to continue to rise. Have a great day, everybody.